All right, folks, time to call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome you to the Greer City Council meeting this evening. This is a regularly called and scheduled Greer City Council meeting held and convened the 22nd of September 2015. Having called the meeting to order, I'd like to ask you to stand with us for our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be followed by the invocation. Both will be led by Councilwoman Judy Albert.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for being here with us. We thank you for this day that you've given us, for the many blessings that you've bestowed on us as individuals, as a city, and as a nation. We pray that you will be with our leaders, both national, local, and that you will guide and direct them in the way that you would intend for our nation to go. We pray that you'll be with us this evening, and may we always be of service to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Anybody to appear in public forum this evening?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move into the minutes of the council meeting. You have contained in your packet the minutes from the September 8th, 2015 council minutes. I'll entertain a motion that they be received.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any items of note for the clerk? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council departmental reports are contained there for your review. You've got the August reports. We will have Mr. Seifert bring us our financial update.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we're going to present the August financial report ending August 31st, 2015. For that period, beginning with the general fund, we have general fund revenue of $826,914 recorded. And then general fund expenditures of $3,042,490 on the expenditure side. Then on the expenditure side, that is 2% under budget at August 31st. Referencing the dashboards, we have an overall combined negative variance on the dashboards of $162,640. And then finally, in the general fund, we have a cash carrying balance of $6,415,438. Moving to the hospitality fund, we have revenues received of $317,711, and that amount is 2% over budget. And then for the expenditures for the hospitality fund, we have $13,600 and a carrying cash balance of $979,816. And lastly, our third biggest fund that we track monthly and report is our stormwater fund. We have revenue received of $2,243 with expenditures of $13,760. And at August 31st, that is 15% under budget. And then for the cash carrying balance in the stormwater fund, we have $795,695. I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. Council? As always, Mr. Seifert or Mr. Driggers will be glad to assist you with any questions you have regarding the report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Skipper Burns is here on behalf of the Public Services Department to give his annual report and update on what's going on with the Public Services Department. Mr. Burns, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me a few minutes to try to bring you up to date on what we have been working on for the past year. Solid waste or garbage, of course, we do not do that, but I still monitor these numbers and we still pay these landfill fees. I'm pleased to tell you this year that our tonnage to the landfills, both landfills, are down approximately 274 tons from the past year. As more and more of our residents continue to recycle, and we get requests almost daily for recycle bins, I hope this will go down next year again. We also added around 200 new carts this year to our route. Curbside recycling, there again, our numbers are up. ACE started around 9-10 months ago picking up curbside recycling, what we call co-mingle. So my numbers are going to be a little different. You'll notice it's a solid one number now instead of breaking out the cardboard and the plastic and everything. You do see our tire number stays about the same each year. So, but the good thing is, since we have gone up from about 220 tons last year to 246 tons this year, and so I think that's an improvement there. The City Recycle Center has also increased in our numbers. You can see the recycle numbers are up, and we think this will continue to go up as more and more of our residents use this facility. E-waste is, those numbers are up also. This is the last number that we track in our recycle center. And this past year, we carried 22.23 tons of e-waste to the landfill that had been dropped off at our recycle center. All this was carried to one or the other landfill as per all the DHEC rules, regulations. The street signs, that's another one that you can see this year we did a little less on our post replacements. That just means we had less tore up. Street name and stop signs, those numbers have gone up, and stop signs down a little bit as we continue to try to keep our signs in good condition, visible, faded out signs replaced, this kind of stuff. And then this year I did a little extra on the miscellaneous repairs. So that number went up a little bit. That's simply straightening up or you know, bolts are out or something like that, and we have to repair those. This year our leaf collection will start on November the 2nd and will end February the 5th. This will allow us to visit each resident 3 different times through that season. Also, we will do our mail out again. We've had good success with it all the years. Steve works very hard and gets that set up and out to bid for us. So that should go out around the end of October for all of our residents. This year, as you were very much aware, we had a couple of snow events in February this past year, and we're not sure what this winter is going to hold. According to some of the weather people, it looks like we may be in for a cold, wet winter. We kept crews on hand through all these events. Our crews traveled a little over 1,700 miles of sanding and plowing city streets. We used almost 50 tons of sand on our streets and bridges. We were trying to do this to keep our streets passable. The Amnesty Day this year was held the end of April. I've had to track my numbers a little different. Instead of giving you gallons of paint and this kind of stuff, I had to use a different vendor. The vendor I had been using no longer wanted to take some paints. He wanted to start picking out what he could take. So I went through Spartanburg County, and I used the same vendor they used for their similar as to an Amnesty Day. They called it a little different. And I actually piggybacked on their contract and got, I felt like, a good, fair price. This crew came in, they set up, they had 3 cubic yard cardboard boxes, and some of that material was stacked in those. Some of the paint was poured in 55-gallon barrels, and at the end of this event, they pulled everything and put it in the truck and drove out the gate, and we were done with it. You know, we had paperwork saying that we had properly disposed of it. Got a bill in a few days, and that's the vendor I hope to be able to use the next year. Mechanic shop this year. As you see, our vehicle service is up this year from the past years. You also see that our vehicle repairs are up. And that's a good thing, I think, because all of our departments seem to be trying to take care of our vehicles. Tire replacement is up. Miscellaneous jobs is another one I tracked in that this year. And the miscellaneous jobs would be anything other than automobiles, from weed eaters, chainsaws, lawnmowers, equipment trailers, you know, anything else that we work on in our shop and try to keep in good condition. Sidewalk repair this year, public service crews repaired over 300 foot of sidewalk. In some of those cases, we added the handicap ramps. This work was completed in some different locations in town. We repaired some trip hazards in the Ashley Commons area. Arlington Avenue, we removed some broken sidewalk and replaced it. The Depot Street, when Wild Ace did their sidewalk, they come to the edge of their property, and we picked up from there and went on up to Poinsett and completed that. And then we also replaced some broken sidewalk out at the Caliber Ridge Park. This is another thing, you know, we continue to work on each year, and from time to time, we have to cut back and clean out drainage right-of-ways. This area is in the Country Meadows subdivision. Some of the residents were having trouble with the water, not going down that ditch line and getting to the exit points to get to the creek down there. So we went in there, had to do some hand work, had to do some bush hog work, and so we cleaned that out to keep this water from backing up on these residents. This is another location. This is down on Nature Trail. Visibility for this road and debris brushing mirrors and everything on the automobiles. So we cut this back and also cleaned this ditch line to help control some of this. You know, each year we cut back and mow as many locations as we can. We get some of these phone calls from residents, we get some of these from our own police, we get some from the bus departments, and some of it we just notice that you can't see a sign. So we've cut back over 35 different locations this year. Spraying, we try to keep our curb lines and our sidewalks, our gutters clear from debris and this kind of stuff. It helps our stormwater run off. And this past year, we sprayed over 60 miles of sidewalk and curb line to control the weeds. Also, the sweeper truck ran over 250 miles of city streets, and this also to improve the quality of our water that's going into our creeks. Some of the other storm drain work, this is repairs made at Starcrest. It started out as a sinkhole in a resident's yard, and after we got out there, we found we had some bad joints of pipe. We had to make some repairs. We had to remove some road, remove some curb line. We had to drop the outfall on that ditch line there where you can see we put the riprap. And we did this to try to improve this runoff in this area. Just a few of the other things that we have done in drainage work this year is 15 outfalls have been worked on. Some kind of repairs have been made. 13 ditch lines recut or cleaned out. Sometimes they just silt in. We just simply have to cut them, get them back some depth so the water will run. 12 storm boxes repaired. 6 sinkholes or some kind of hole in a yard or a hole in the storm drain pipe that we've made repairs. We've jetted and cleaned 17 different storm drain lines, 22 storm drain inlets repaired, and 15 storm drain lines inspected. That is where we put the cameras down the lines and look to see what we have.
Skipper, on that, when you're running the camera, does that camera have a feature of showing you how deep it is?
Not depth in the ground, no, sir.
Okay, just out from it just gives
Well,
you
it has
a linear foot.
It has a meter that tells us how many feet down the
Right.
pipe we are.
But not the depth. Okay.
No, sir, not the depth down. But in just a minute, I'll show you some, we've got a couple of little videos in here of where we've actually ran the camera down the line so I can show you what we see. This is another drainage improvement. This is over in the Rich Glen subdivision. This is one Don Holloman worked. This is right really at the edge of the city. We had no curbing down that side. We had no real control of the water. We had some erosion going into the creek, so we did some talking to the resident down there, and he offered to put some money in. So we went down and we pulled curb down the other part of the street where the curb had just discontinued, just quit. We added these concrete spillways, added stone at the end to displace the water so it didn't just erode going into the creek. And this right here has tremendously helped this drainage and everything in this area. Some of the other things we do, and of course you know a lot of this, but this year we've patched 191 potholes. We've mowed our cemeteries 10 times. Of course, you know, we set up and take down for events. We do our Christmas decorations. We paint our parking lots and railroad crossings. We remove storm damage when we have storms, where we get tree limbs or whatever in the road. Some of these we have to come out in the night, some of them on the weekends. Every once in a while we'll luck up and get one in the daytime. We have to clean up road spills. This could be anything from concrete spilled in the road to somebody dropping a load of trash. We do our training. We do online training. We have done some. We've done some other training through Clemson University on lawnmowers and bush hogs and this type of stuff. We're on call, all 7/24. We also participated in a couple of different touch-a-truck events. That's what the picture is here with the little man sitting in the Bobcat. That was our GDC, did one down on Trade Street, and that was our part of that. All right, right here, Mr. Airwood, this is actual some video of I'm going to show you of a inspection on a storm drain. This one was actually done over on Harris. We had a call that we had a hole in the yard. So we were pretty certain that we were going to find a storm drain problem. This is not what you want to find. So I'll get this to start. This is, we're down the pipe. We've already seen what we want. Now we've turned the camera on and we're backing up. And you will see what we find here that we fully understand real quick the problem. This is galvanized steel. This has just rotted out. It's just rusted away on it.
Is that where the lady had problems in the backyard?
Yeah, well, it was right off Harris, right in the corner of the yard. Okay, right there at that catch basin, right beside, between Bailey View and Mills.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, I remember that too. That did follow me.
So we have the ability to rotate this lens, turn the lights on and off. And you see there, we're looking straight through the ground. That's where you would have heard them say, Houston, we have a problem. So,
Are we replacing that with galvanized pipe,
No,
or is there
sir.
another material now?
no, sir. We went back with plastic there. There's plastic on down in there. The video didn't go and show you that, but I know it's down there. We don't use any steel that we can help it. All right, this is another location down in Bent Creek subdivision. We simply needed to try to figure out, we thought we had some junction boxes, and this is just a little short video, but I was trying to show you the ability of what we can actually look at, see, do with this camera. You saw he looked all the way back and saw the tire on his camera, so he knew exactly where he was. Mr. Airwood, you see up there, it says that we're 87 feet down.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, we probably had some bad joints when this was installed.
That's why.
If you notice like the orange mark right there, that's a water mark in the pipe as to water level. That concludes my report. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Skipper, you probably got the same email I got, I think it was today, about a service. They couched it under handicap tripping, and basically if you got a sidewalk that's unlevel, this machine they have will kind of shave that down
Yep.
where it's level. Are you aware of that kind of stuff?
Well, I have used him to do a demo down on in trade a few years ago.
Really?
And it is exactly what you said. It is like a saw, and he bevels it off. It does very, very good on minor, on small tripping.
I think they said up to an inch and a half, 2 inch, something like
But,
that.
and we have some areas that are like that, but we also have some areas that are 3 to 4 inches, but we've been trying to work on that. That's a lot of what we did right out here on Arlington, is, we had some tree roots that had just pushed sidewalks up so far that there was nothing to do but take the roots out and replace it.
Yep.
And that's what we've been trying to do for that. So, but yes, sir, I have, we've had a demo of that company, Precision Sidewalk, I think's the name
Yeah,
of it.
something like that. Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Skipper,
Pretty neat.
it's been maybe a month or two ago, maybe even possibly the summer, but I read at one point in time that the price on recycling had really bottomed at some point in time, particularly glass and
Yes.
some of the other products that typically would go through various different kinds of recycling. In fact, it pointed out a couple of places were simply just collecting all of it together because they were just taking it to a dump or getting rid of it in some regards just because they couldn't, the cost of recycling it was more than the cost of collecting it.
Well, yes, sir.
So is our company, are they satisfied with the results that you showed us in terms of what they're getting down there? Is it worthwhile for them to do it? Is that a service for them to do it? How does that work for us?
Well, part of our contract is they have to do the recycle, and then
Yeah.
part of DHEC rules and regulations is we have to recycle. Recycle is one of those that you'll never make any money. But the glass is what you just said. That is one of the hardest to get rid of. That you just hope you don't have to pay to get rid of it. The plastic, cardboard, and metal, that brings a little bit of money.
Yeah.
So they haven't really said anything negative about the recycle, and the numbers that are coming to the recycle center and everything. That's keeping them going.
And they also consolidate that collection with other sites that they collect when they bring them all
Right.
together. They don't consolidate on our site, but when it leaves us, it goes to where they collect in other places. So they've got a higher volume, and that helps them somewhat with it as well. Mr. Burns is absolutely correct. I think what helps us the most is that it's part of our negotiated contract for the fee on the curbside collection as well. So they really don't have the option. One of the ways that we ensure that they do not have a financial incentive to put it into the waste stream is our monitoring of the tonnage. So we would know immediately if we had an increase in our landfill tonnage because we're monitoring that as we go.
Well, I look at that monthly with the Greenville bill, Greenville County bill, and with the Welford landfill bill. And like I say, I don't feel like we're doing any of that, and I know they carry it to a company over in Greenville called Sunoco. They do co-mingle. It looks like a garbage truck, and come on, it is. But they can put all the plastic they want, all the cardboard, newsprint, aluminum, anything like that in there.
And we'll field those questions regularly. It's not unusual that someone in our community will call and say, I saw the collector put the recyclables into the back of a garbage can and a garbage truck, and it does appear that way. But it's the collection method for the commingled material. It's not a garbage truck. It is a recycling truck. But they collect all of that in that single container, and then they take that in bulk to their recycling center.
And that's where, we're still not doing glass, of course, at the curbside, and that's part of that reason. You get that glass in there and break it and get it mixed into that material, and then it's really a very low price you get for it.
Are we doing plastic curbside now?
We haven't been advertising, but we do know some people are putting it out, and we are picking it up.
Oh, okay, so I can put mine out there.
I mean, I know Ace is doing it, and even though I don't say I know it, but I have other people tell me that, hey, I put it out and I picked it up. So I'm not worried. You know, it goes in there with a co-mingle and everything. So I want us to see about doing something toward recycle one day. It gives the resident a larger container. And I don't really have that answer.
I think people would recycle plastics more if it was picked up there. It just gets to be kind of burdensome, and it piles up fast with your, milk jugs and all that.
That 18-gallon bin is just small. And I've talked to Spartanburg, they've done a larger container, and I've talked to some other towns that have done a larger container. And it's a pretty good cost to buy those larger containers. So.
Plastic creates most of the bulk in the trash
Yeah,
now.
it does.
And if you could reduce, milk cartons, or when you go out and eat, the things that the containers that food comes in and different things like that, I really think it would cut down on the amount of bulk as far as the waste, and maybe we could, over time, get those green carts kind of down to size and then have a larger recycling container, I guess, that maybe rolls out to the curb, because they talked about doing some type of single stream recycling, and
Yes, sir.
which is, I know that's kind of what the co-mingling is, but then we'd actually be advertising the plastics at that point.
Yes, sir.
Skipper, it's kind of it starts to say kind of a small thing, but it really isn't. How do we keep our trucks looking so good? Do we wash those on some sort of regular basis, or what? I mean, we really have good-looking trucks. I don't ever see our trucks muddy.
They get dirty, sir.
Yes, they do. We insist.
But I have a super good crew. They will say, I gotta go wash the truck. And they know that it's appearance. We just, we try not to let our stuff get bad. Yes, sir, it gets dirty, the interiors get dirty. It gets a lot of dirt and mud in the floors, depending on where you're working. But we try to take care of it. We try to wash them out. Ricky is very particular. He better not go get in the backhoe and it's, got that much mud in the floor, and he better not get in that bobcat and it's a bunch of mud. He'll say, you should have washed it before you brought it back. And so like I say, we work on it. So.
They do a good job. Tell them thank
Thank
you. It is pretty impressive.
We're willing to bet that tonight and tomorrow they're the cleanest they'll be all year.
Must have an inspection there tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we do.
I don't know. I heard the competition for Touch a Truck was a pretty fierce washing and waxing competition was what that turned
It was.
into.
There again, they took it, I told them to clean up, come on, kids like tractors. So I said, we're going to take the big blue tractor, we're going to take the backhoe, we're going to take the bobcat. And I told them, I said, wash them, clean them up, but I don't want kid dirty when he gets out. I came back in a little while, and they're back there arm rolling the tires on the bobcat. And
Even the tread.
And they made a competition of it.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir, they had a good time.
That's good.
Good. Thank you, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Mr. Driggers, your administrative report, please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Several things to make you aware of this evening. The first is one that we will actually ask you to take a piece of action on. We would like to enter into the record the report of the Election Commission. We provided a copy to you as an attachment. While it was not a part of the agenda, we did, I think, provided that after the fact as an agenda, an attachment. Or was it to the agenda? I can't remember what you did.
No, I sent it separate. And
Sent it separate, just wanted to make sure. The Election Commission did meet on September the 11th, certified the election. As a matter of record, we would like to indicate that re-elected for the position of mayor for a 4-year term is Rick Danner, Council Member District 1, Jay Arrowwood, Council Member District 3, Kimberly Bookert, Council Member District 5, Riley Bettis, and a 6-year term for Commissioner of Public Works, Jeff Howell.
With your permission and action of council, we would receive that report from the Election Commission and enter into the record of the city.
Prefer that action now or at the end of your report?
At your discretion, sir, however
Okay.
you'd like to do that.
We'll handle that at the end of your report then.
Very good. Couple of matters of calendar items for us. Appreciate those folks who had an opportunity to come by the Victor Gym a little bit earlier. As you can see, a transformation of that space, and you could see how it was being used today with the after-school program, the Creative Advancement Center folks over there. We're going to get great use of that site, so I'm glad that we were able to go over and take a viewing of that before we came over here tonight. Do want to remind you that on Thursday, several folks will be going over to Malden for the Municipal Association's meeting. We'll be reviewing legislative action items for the coming year. They are doing those around the state, and several folks are signed up to participate with that on Thursday. Mr. Sale will be making that trip over. I will be unable to join you. I also serve on the BMW Community Advisory Panel, and that group will be meeting at the exact same time, so we kind of conquered and divided. So I'll be going over to the BMW meeting, and Mr. Sale will be joining you folks over in Malden. Looking forward to that meeting. Always good things come out of that as they prepare the legislative agenda. As a reminder, the Community Farmers Market is continuing. That has been extremely successful, and they are making some minor modifications on a weekly basis to continue to improve that process, and they will be out there again this Thursday evening. If you have not had an opportunity yet to stop by the Farmers Market out here in Greer Station, I encourage you to do that. Greer Development Corporation extends an invitation. You should have received some information prior, but do note that they have two industry appreciation events that are coming up, and they wanted to extend that invitation to Mayor and Council as well for those, October the 1st and October 15th. So again, we hope that you have those on your calendar as well. Our Chamber of Commerce does their first Friday event. We extend an invitation to you, especially for the next 2 months' events. The first one is on October the 2nd, and featured at that will be Greer Development Corporation. Mr. Reno Deaton will be presenting at that meeting, and we want to call a special attention to that meeting, simply to give you the tickler to say there will be a significant announcement made at that meeting that has tremendous impact to our community, one that I think we will all be excited to hear, as well as a great sense of pride here in our own community. So we'll offer that as the tickler, but if you don't normally come to the Chamber First Friday event, that's one that I think you really would like to attend. If we can help you make reservations for that, we'll be glad to do that. Now, Mr. Deaton will do a wonderful job at that event, but I also want to invite you to the first Friday meeting in November, which is November the 6th, and at that meeting I will be presenting for that session, and we will be providing a community update on the community master plan, providing some specific information to our retail business community and the impact of the community master plan and how they can become involved in that process as we implement the plan over the next several years. So we especially invite you to come to those two events. If we can assist you with reservations for those, please let us know. We'll be glad to take care of that. We would like to make arrangements to invite you over for a site visit to the Snow Street Auditorium property. I would like to propose to council that we would do that on an off Tuesday evening. I would like to inquire of you if your schedules would allow for us to do that before our next meeting, and that would be on the off Tuesday of October the 6th. If that schedule would work for you, this would not be a business meeting. It will not be a workshop. It is a tour of the facility, and as part of the tour, Ms. Cunningham and her staff have some information that they would like to present to you, and some information that I would like to share with you about some potential uses of that property, to get some feedback from you on how we would want to proceed with that. So I guess that's my inquiry is, would the October 6th date work for your schedules? If that can be accommodated, what time you would like to go there? Would you like to do it a little earlier, like we did this evening with the tour of Victor Gym, or at a regular meeting time? Again, that's completely at your discretion, if that date works at all.
Council, any suggestions, recommendations?
Date works good for me.
The date would work. Could we meet as early, would 5:30 work for folks? Is that a little too early? Can we push it up, back? Again, we don't want to do it at a time that it's inconvenient for folks, but I want to try to capture as much of the daytime as we can there on the site.
Good for me.
5:30 it is.
5:30?
Yeah.
Then we will schedule the meet at 5:30 on October the 6th at that site. We will have a reminder that'll come out to you, probably a couple of those, but we will again meet at 5:30 on October the 6th at the auditorium property. Okay, excellent. Thank you for accommodating that meeting. I also want to make you aware, you've probably seen some things in the local media. We have a new training instrument within our police department, and it's called FATS, F-A-T-S. It's a firearm training system. If you haven't seen any of the media accounts of it, that's okay. We're going to give you a first-hand opportunity to see that system in operation. We would like to do that prior to your regular meeting on October the 13th. We will be set up in the training room at the police department. We will do that at 5:30 prior to our meeting. That'll give us enough time. We would like to demonstrate for you our officers training on that equipment, and then we're going to allow you an opportunity to use the equipment as well. So brush up on your firearms use. You'll have an opportunity to use both a rifle and a sidearm as part of that training. And but most importantly, you will have an opportunity to see how our officers are using that equipment in training. It is real-life scenario video training. It's pretty neat. And so we encourage you to join us for that. And if for some reason your schedule just doesn't work, let us know. We'd like to get you over another time.
When did you say it was going to be?
We're going to do it before the next scheduled meeting, the October 13th meeting, and we'll do that at 5:30 as well, mainly just so we can get over there and get back to this location. And we may even be a few minutes tardy because we'd like for all of you to try it. Now, I'll give my point of disclosure is that when I went over for it to be demonstrated to me, I was a bit intimidated by all the officers and their skills, and I refused to participate. Because it will also identify if you happen to make a mistake, which is part of the training. And so I wasn't willing to risk making that mistake in front of a room full of officers. But it'll be a smaller crowd for us.
As long as we're not targets, that's
But
good.
we're not targets, that's right. None of the videos are depictions of any of us. So that's a good thing. But we're looking forward to doing that. October is a busy time for us. We have a number of things that are happening. Every 3 years we do a community survey, and we will again be conducting our community survey this October. We're anticipating that it'll be really the latter part of the month as we get ready to do that. But we work with the National Citizen Survey Group to administer that program for us. We established a benchmark 3 years ago. We want to go in, we want to survey our community again this year, and then we will use the data that we collected 3 years ago with the data that we collect this year, we'll look for those areas that we've made improvement, hopefully. And if there is any areas that of concern to our community, the survey will help us identify those as well. So it's a great training opportunity for us as we prepare really pieces of our strategic plan and as we are starting to renew our review for our comprehensive plan as well. So that'll be taking place in October. And then also October is open enrollment for all of our employees on their insurance program. So we'll be reminding all of our folks that they have through the end of October for any changes that they may need or want to make concerning that as well. And the last item that I have for you is a bit of sad news, if you've not heard that already. Longtime employee of the city of Greer, Sergeant Greg Paris, passed away this week. He has been battling cancer and some other problems here for a while, and passed away this week. We will be advised of services. We are anticipating that will be next week. He has a son that will need to travel here who is stationed out of the area in the military, and arrangements were being made for him to return to the area. Sergeant Paris was a great member of our team, around for a long, long time. Many of us have worked with him, and many of you worked with him over the years as well. So I hate to share that type of news with you, but we certainly wanted to make you aware of that. With council's permission and consideration, I would like to ask, since we have not had an executive session in quite some time, I do have two personnel matters that I need to ask council to take a look at. One is concerning a performance review of a department head. One is an evaluation process concerning your city administrator. I'm also asking you to allow me to give you some information on a potential contractual matter concerning negotiation for a purchase of equipment, and also an update for some legal information concerning a potential property purchase here within the community. So with council's consideration, two personnel, one legal, one contractual, I would ask you to consider. That concludes my report, sir.
With that, then, we have one item to take some action on. We need to, for a matter of the record, enter into the record the results of the election as certified by the Election Commission on September the 11th. The result of that certification was that the mayor, council members representing districts 1, 3, and 5, and the Commission of Public Works seat were all re-elected. That would be for their appropriate positions, all incumbents. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes. We only have one item of old business this evening. It's the first reading of ordinance number 19-2015. This was the ordinance to amend the City of Greer zoning code of ordinance by adding to Article 4 definitions in Section 611 new uses or construction to incorporate unusable property requirements within the City of Greer. As you're aware, we tabled this at our last meeting. We had discussion in a workshop setting in regards to this. Quite honestly, probably more questions than answers in that setting. It comes back before us at this point in time as a matter of old business. There are several ways to proceed in this regard. Having tabled the motion, if there is no motion to order it forward, it simply will be dead at that point. The number will be reassigned. If additional information is requested, either from the attorney or staff, it would require a motion for us to proceed in that regard, to bring it back into an active status from its tabled position. I'll offer to you the first reading of ordinance number 19-2015. Do I hear a motion? I'll ask a second time. Do I hear a motion in regards to 19-2015?
You say if we don't act on it, it dies. Is that what you said?
That's correct, yes.
But it can be brought back in a new form, right? A new and improved
Well,
ordinance.
our understanding is it would not, if the concern is we have to wait a year to bring back a defeated motion, what we would bring back to council would be completely different
Right.
than this, if that is the desire of council. Yeah. What we've heard is that this isn't the way to move forward. And so we can either massage it and work on it, and we can certainly do that, and that would just be a motion to table it, send it back to the city attorney. If not, no action, it dies, and council would have to give me some instruction of whether to do something different or not. I mean, it could be you want to do nothing.
But if we can take no action, that doesn't jeopardize bringing back something.
No, sir, it does not. As long as it's not the same.
Right, yeah.
We couldn't bring back the same.
With that clarification, I'll ask the last time. Would anybody like to make a motion to proceed? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan? Oh, we don't have anything to vote
I saw that question
Look
on
on
your
her face,
face.
she did that, didn't she? Okay. As a matter of record, let the record indicate that no one moved, that we receive first reading of ordinance number 19-2015.
The ordinance fails.
All right. With that, then, we'll move to the inquiry in regards to executive session. Administrator has suggested that we have 2 personnel matters, 1 contractual matter, and 1 legal matter to consider this evening. Do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood? Yes. Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, in executive session, we've considered 2 personnel matters, 1 contractual matter, and 1 legal matter. Do I hear a motion to come out of executive
So
session?
moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Booker? Yes. Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, stand adjourned.